Toastmaster for 20 years. Okay? He is definitely a die-hard Toastmaster. Who is he? Talis Wong. Let's put our hands together. Right, first of all, those at the back, can you hear me? Those at the back, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, okay. Very good. So I have 20 minutes. Perhaps what I'm going to do is that I would like to spend the first 15 minutes just to share with you my almost 20 years Toastmasters experience and how it benefited me and how it can benefit you. Would that be okay for you?
Yeah,
And
sounds good.
perhaps the remaining 5 minutes for Q&A, so we make it a bit more interactive. And for that, could Alan, could you help me give me the yellow 5 minutes before time's up, which means it's 15 minutes from now on. Can you give me the yellow at 15 minutes? Okay?
Yeah.
Very good. So, another good evening, everybody. Big welcome to all of you. I guess many of you are first time to Toastmaster. Can you raise your hand? Quite a number. Thank you very much. Now, allow me to say, almost 20 years ago, that was 1993, that was exactly 19 years ago, in more or less, actually the same building here, but it's one floor up, I was there attending a Toastmasters meeting. Now, what made me attend a Toastmasters meeting? It all happened like that. I had a very good friend of mine. I had to do a presentation. I asked that good friend of mine to come along and give me feedback. And after I have done my presentation, I asked her, it's a her, how am I doing? And she frowned and she said, oh, well, I suggest you go to Toastmasters. And at that time, I had completely no idea what Toastmasters is. Then I went to this Toastmasters meeting. So that was 19 years ago. And here I am, 19 years. Never in my life been so loyal to one thing. I am still a Toastmaster. So there must be something there, right? King introduced Toastmaster as a leadership and public speaking training. This is the business of Toastmaster International. If I could explain in a more layman term from my own experience what I have done in the past 19 years and why I am still in Toastmasters. So this is what I have for you this evening. Why Toastmaster and was it for me or for us? Now, perhaps Toastmasters, the other occasion that I came across something called Toastmaster was a real big toaster in the hotel. So other than that, that word Toastmaster seems to be agreed to me. But then that was introduced back in almost 60 years ago in the US, and it was brought into Hong Kong. By now it's more than 54, 55 years. The very first club set up in Hong Kong was in 1954. It was the Hong Kong Toastmasters Club. Now we have something like 57 Toastmasters Club in Hong Kong. We have gone a long way. But basically what we do is, that is really a place for your confidence building as well as your growth. You probably ask, what do you mean by confidence building? There are not many occasions that we stand up and face an audience like that. Agree? Not that many occasions. And more interestingly, that confidence cannot come to you by yourself. You need an audience of that size to give you that confidence. The confidence needs to be trained, but unless the audience is there, otherwise the confidence will not be there. Which means that if I decided that one day I'm going to leave Toastmasters, the confidence will leave me as well, because without the audience, the confidence will go away as well. This is a place where you're going to train your confidence, where you're going to build your confidence with the audience. This is how it works. Now secondly, for growth, probably you ask, what do you mean by that? I'm going to grow anyway, right? 1 year after another. There is something there, interestingly, that it would be a place where you're going to meet a lot of people. People that may be different from your discipline. For example, I was an engineer. I was a civil engineer. I graduated back in 1979, so that was many years ago, in Hong Kong University, engineering. Now, engineering, how many engineers are here? quite a number. So allow me to be a bit offensive that engineers are not good communicators. Agree? No, doesn't matter. You are exceptional. This is really something that as an engineer, we study science, mathematics, but we seldom kind of train how to deal with people. So the Toastmaster is a place where we learn how to interact with people. This is how we can put message across. So this is the business we do. So it will be a place where we're having this kind of human touch where we learn how to put message across, how we can learn to listen, and so on and so forth. Make sense to you? Okay, good. Secondly, it's also a place where we learn all the social skills and how we connect with people. Now I'm going to give a bit more examples of it. Then finally, this is a place for fun. Think about it, Toastmasters. Here, we do Toastmasters meeting normally in the evening. And in a place called Wanja, you know, it's quite suspicious. I mean, if those are married, you're going to tell your wife that I'm going to Wanja having club meetings. I'm going to sign to your wife, right? But actually, this is a place we normally have club meetings. So having fun is important because after a long day's work, nobody wants another boring meeting. Agree? So in Toastmasters, the only way we will survive is to make our meeting interesting, rejuvenating, thought-provoking, so that people come here, they would love to come back the next time. So that's the only way we can sustain. So the fun become a very important element. So with that, allow me to call this 15-minute not a workshop. I don't want to do a workshop for you. I want to do a play shop for you. How's that sound? A play shop, right? This is really the place that if I can make you laugh, at the same time, they get something to take home that will be really interesting. Alright, okay. Here we go, growth and learning. I always carry this mindset to any Toastmasters meeting. I say to myself, for whoever speaks here, I'm going to take one thing from that person. I'm going to learn one thing from that person. Now with that in mind, interestingly, you're going to become very rich because every time after Toastmasters meeting, you're going to get a lot from the meeting. You agree? If I can share with you now, over the years, 19 years, I come to Toastmasters meeting almost once or twice a week. Quite a lot, right? I need to address that because this is somehow an imbalance in life, right? But then I listen to something around 10, 20 speeches every week. And if you do that counting, 19 years, it's more than 10,000. And 10,000 speeches, there are still some that I can still remember very vividly. So there must be something there. How come I can still remember those speeches? Can I share one with you? Because I can still remember. That speech, the very first time I listened to that speech was back in 1995. So that's over 17 years, right? That speech is in Toastmasters what we call an icebreaker. Icebreaker is the first speech of any member. So if you're a new member here, so come on here, you're going to introduce yourself. Now that speaker, she's a lady, or she is still, I mean, she wasn't, I think she is still. She said she had an unfulfilled childhood dream. It was about, she wanted her mom to pick her up after school. I mean, every child loved their mom or dad to pick them up after school. But their childhood dream was never fulfilled because the mom was the breadwinner of the family. She's from a single parent family. And then she said, in the audience this evening, there's a lady. She doesn't understand English. Because her daughter asked her to come. Her daughter has a very important assignment that she would like her mom to witness her. How to finish it. Very simple speech. Very touching, right? That easy. So this is what I learned from everybody. A first timer, the very first one to speak in front of an audience. And all she has done is make it very simple, very genuine. And by really touching us with that emotion, I remember the speech. Very vivid. So what I learned from that icebreaker was that if you're able to evoke emotion from the audience, you're going to make everybody remember your speech. And with that, I learned how to use storytelling to share with people how they can make a speech really impactful, really touching. So something that we can learn from Toastmasters. There's so much we can learn from it. And for that reason, I'm still in Toastmasters, because every time I come, I learn something. And with that, of course, we also say, you learn how to find the difference that makes a difference. Right? From everybody. That's really a wonderful mindset. So if I can share this with you, I have a lot to share with you, but given the time, allow me to say, in Toastmaster, this growth and learning basically is that as long as you carry this openness, this open mind to everything, you are going to get something, and this is going to help you to grow. That will be in your work, that will benefit your work, your life, anything, right? Okay. Now, how are we going to learn social skill? What do you think is important in social skill? I'm sure some of you might have heard this person called the book by the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey, right? And I understand that Stephen Covey passed away very recently. Now, in one of his 7 habits, that was the one about learn how to understand before being understood. That was one of the 7 habits. In Toastmaster, this is exactly what we learn. Now, you might have heard about that we learn public speaking. In fact, we do not learn public speaking here. We learn first to listen, as you will find from this meeting, that we have evaluation. Evaluation means we first learn how to listen before you can come up with any feedback for the speaker. So this is a place where we learn to receive before expressing. So it's more than just public speaking. It's communication. And by being able to listen, and we also learn how to give feedback constructively, we learn how to do it very sensibly, with sensibility. Sense and sensibility. So we learn how to speak with flowers. Very important. So with that, of course, that we are able to listen, think before speak. This is the 3 process. We learn first to listen, and then we think before we speak. So it's not just about speaking. It's not just about telling people what you want to say. Instead, we learn how to listen, first of all. Constructive feedback is learning how to give feedback in a way that the people will gladly receive your comments and feedback. Now, how many of you here believe this statement called constant practice makes perfect? How many of you believe this statement? Quite a number, right? Now, in Toastmaster, this is not quite correct. Constant practice only makes error permanent. So constant feedback with a constant practice with feedback will make perfect. Agree? So the feedback part is important. This is how we learn here. This is how we learn here. So sensitivity. Now, I guess the best thing to do would be that for the remaining part of the meeting, you're going to witness how we're going to listen, how we're going to think, how we're going to come up with the constructive feedback to the speakers. So you're going to see how it's done. Now finally, on the fun part, now over the 19 years, one of the things that keep me in Toastmasters, of course, is the fun part. Toastmaster with lots of parties and so on and so forth, right? And interestingly, we all have this little child inside us, you agree? This little child, this is where our creativity comes. And only in Toastmaster can I do things like that. Back in 1997, I dressed up like Marilyn Monroe. And I still remember very vividly because I did all that in a men's washroom. And if a guy came in, he was so surprised, he thought he went into the wrong washroom. So this is what happened back in 1997. And then that happened only earlier this year. So you see, in Toastmaster, we can always remain young, at least at heart, you agree? So the fun part is really what makes us feel good about it. And it's also open us up for more creativity. This is very important. Creativity is very important. And of course, you only see me dressed like a woman. I do I mean, that one is where the Synergy Advanced Toastmasters Club were having their 5th anniversary. I was lucky enough to be hosting a Q&A session with this very, the celebrity, Mei Ling. I guess some of you may know the lady, the Mei Ling, that lady. She is an expert for matchmaking. That lady. You see, I've got green hair here. Because that evening, the guys were supposed to dress in green, so somehow I make sure that I stand out from the crowd. And these are the occasion. Now, so much for that. This is the fun part. You come to Toastmasters after a long day's work. How you can learn will be that when you're having fun. Think of it. This is where you can learn most efficiently. When you learn under pressure, you're going to learn very efficiently. Only when you learn very happily, then you can learn very efficiently. Now finally, I have something to share with you. Before I call, over the years, I noticed that there is a very interesting and useful tip for you to make a speech that could be very touching, very impactful. There are 3 basic elements in it, and would you like to know what they are? Yes. Very good. Now, the very first one is called the fierceness. Now, in whatever we say, right here, making a speech, we must come with a message. If we come out here and give an empty talk without content, then we don't have that fierceness. So the fierceness is a very important energy inside each and every one of us. So when you speak with substance, with message, then people will be touched by that energy. So that fierceness comes from our father. So we look up to our father, role model, discipline, right? Men at work, why are you so attractive? Because they have this energy of fierceness. Agree? Makes sense, right? So this energy is what we call the tenderness. Tenderness means you care to share. Some people come here, they have a lot of good messages, but they don't have the heart to share. The audience can feel it. It's no good. And even the people who really have the tenderness without the fierceness, what happens? A Chinese saying that a loving mother can ruin a child, right? Spoil a child, right? Heard about that one? Can I speak in Cantonese? 慈母多敗兒, right? This is exactly what it means. Meaning that it's only tenderness without fierceness. It's not going to work. So either one is no good. The good combination of fierceness and tenderness will make it so much different. So 2 energies. Tenderness, fierceness. Tenderness comes from our mother. Fierceness comes from our father. Finally, we have this playfulness. This is where we call humor. Everybody has a little child inside us, right? So we have this 3 energy inside us, the fierceness, the tenderness, and the playfulness. If a speech contains all these 3 elements, you'll be able to create a resonance inside a person, and that will be making it so touching. Right? I think I need to give you an example, right? I've been so lucky to be able to find a video clip which is from Singapore. It's about a funeral. You know a funeral. So in a funeral, should we have humor? Should we or should we not have humor? The best would be that I'm going to show you right away, okay? All right.
Mrs. Lee, I believe you have some good
Can we turn off the light? I think it's better. Yeah.
I'm not going to sing praises to my late husband. Not today. Neither am I going to talk about how good he was. Enough people have done that here. Instead, I want to talk about some things that will make some of you feel a bit uncomfortable. First off, I want to talk about what happened in bed. Ever had difficulty starting your car engine in the morning? exactly what David's snoring sounded like. But wait, snoring wasn't everything. There was also this rear end wind action going on as well. Some nights, it would be so forceful, it would wake him up. What was that? He would ask. Oh, it's the dog, I would say. Go back to sleep, dear. Oh, you might find this all very funny, but towards the end of his life, when his illness was at its worst, these sounds indicated to me that my David was still alive. And what I wouldn't give, just to hear those sounds again before I sleep. In the end, it's these small things that you remember, the little imperfections that make them perfect for you. So to my beautiful children, I hope one day you too find yourselves life partners who are as beautifully imperfect as your father was to me.
Good one, right? Very good. Only 2 minutes. And they can be really that touching, that powerful. The fierceness. Very clear message, right? Imperfection. If you can kind of accept that imperfection, the relationship will be perfect. That tenderness and the playfulness. So something for you to take home. This is what we can learn. As long as there's 3 basic elements in your speech, you're going to touch me. You're going to touch me. Now my part's done, Q&A. Are you ready? Are you in the right state to ask a question? I'm ready for any question you may have. Yes?
How many years to reach this perfection?
You mean that? You mean that batch or what?
So this perfection which you showed now, how many years to reach there?
Good question. I still way from that perfection. The only thing is that I'm sure you would agree that the more time you spend on it, the better you become. And something that's more different that makes a big difference is, as I said, I always carry this mindset. From every speaker here, I'm going to take one thing from that person. And that really helps. So the mindset is really what makes the difference. That little difference is going to make a big difference. And from where I was, I still remember that the reason before I joined Toastmasters, we had long, big meetings where everybody's going to introduce themselves by telling their name, which department they come from, right? I was so nervous. By the time it came to my turn, I still make my name wrong. So I guess I've gone a long way. But the only thing I can say, I'm so kind of thankful for having come to this Toastmasters. And I always remember one more thing, is that one of the very senior Toastmasters once told me that it's time to reciprocate. We are at the receiving end of these Toastmasters, and time to reciprocate. And over the years, I've been doing a lot of community work for schools, for students, in order to help them to learn Toastmasters. I guess they all need it. And hopefully, that will help them to create a positive difference in their life. Okay. Answer the question? Thanks. Any other question? Yes?
What do you find the most difficulties in your journey becoming a Toastmaster, and what do you find the most achievement in your journey becoming a Toastmaster?
My most notable achievement in my 19 years of Toastmasters journey is that I can resist all the temptation from the ladies, and I'm still single. Okay, I may not have answered your question, but then most important, you set challenge for yourself. Now, say for example, I'm still taking part in contests, and sometimes I do workshops, and I want to try something I've not tried before. Because think about it, this is the safest place for you to try out, for you to learn. Everybody carries the learner's plate, right? You're going to make a mistake here, it's not going to cost you anything. In the real world, you make a mistake, it will cost you your job. So this is a place where you carry this learner's plate, no burden at all. If you make a mistake, somebody's going to tell you in a very friendly way, and you can learn from it, and then by the time you go back to your reality, then you become a different person. So that's why this is perhaps the most cost-effective way to learn and perfect yourself. Would that be a better answer?
Yeah, and then what do you find the most difficult thing in your journey becoming a Toastmaster?
It's by the time when I need to pay my membership. Otherwise, then of course, then after paying the membership fee, I say to myself, I must come to every meeting to make the money worth. Okay. How much time do I have? Can I take one or two more questions? Can I last question? Last question. Can I take last question before we wrap this up? One last question. Yes.
What's your tips for giving a humorous speech?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Now, the week before, I was doing a workshop in Achievers Toastmasters, how to take part in a humorous speech contest and not to win it. So that's what I said last time. But then you're in the right place because we're in a contest season now. Then many clubs are organizing their humorous speech contest. So I would strongly suggest you go around, visit other clubs, and attend the speech contest, and have a good laugh and learn from them, and learn from them. And humor is something very interesting. It's contagious. You agree? So you're in the right place. Some people, they're really humorous, and then you can learn from them, and then you can also enjoy the good laugh. All right. So I think my time's up. I'm sure we're having a 20-minute break, so we can do a little more chatting over there. With that, can I pass control back to our Toastmasters leading? Okay, thank you.